What is up, Finesse family? How is everybody doing today? This is Mrs. B Finesse of Millennial Finesse Mindset.com, guys. And today we're starting off the week again with some interesting, captivating, motivational, encouraging topics for you guys today. Some things from conversations that we had, you guys has questions about, you wanted to know about. We're going to get into that today. The topic is how to end emotional emptiness. I know a lot of people are suffering from this anxiety, this overwhelmingness with emotions, especially in their relationships and or what's going on in society with everything going on with people losing jobs and all these different conversations that lead to it. We're going to get deep into this emptiness, what it is, describe it, what it looks like, that it's actually an emotion, and we're going to delve into the different layers of it and how you can be able to overcome it. And how you can notice it in yourself and other people. So we're going to have a deep dive in that as we always do, guys. Make sure as you're coming in, you hit that button, hit that like button. Also, make sure you guys share. And after the stream, guys, make sure that you comment. Leave me comments. I love the comments because it lets me know what you guys understood and learned from the conversations. And we're going to get straight into it. While you guys are struggling with this endless emotional feeling, how we can deal with it, and different steps to help you overcome this, because it's something you can overcome. It's actually a choice you guys have to make, right? So we're going to get definitely into that, guys. Make sure if you hashtag replay if you missed some of the last streams from last week and the week before. Make sure you guys are looking in the community tab, as I am updating different things in there so you know what's going on with this channel. And once again, here we are, the Finesse fam. If you're new, thank you for being here. The goal is always for me to faithfully innovate, inspire, to be naturally effective, and seek success every day. That is what Finesse stands for. And that is what I do with the Finesse fam. And this is something that you guys can take and use and matriculate in your life, your family, your career. That is what this channel is for, Millennial Finesse Mindset. So let's get straight into the topic. If you guys have any questions or you wanted to come into the conversation and talk, let me know. We will have a special guest on to discuss these different topics. So let's get into it, guys. I'm super excited. Once again, guys, make sure it's always a Finesse fam in the chat. Let us know. Stay involved in the conversation in the chat. I love when you guys are active in the chat, the subscribers, because you guys don't know how you are helping others with your questions, comments, and statements in the chat. So thank you guys for being involved, and let's get started. All right, Finesse family. Once again, we're back with the topic today. We're discussing how to help end this emotional emptiness. So if you're not understanding kind of what that is, or if you've been feeling it but you can't put words to it, the discussion is actually very relative to aspects of depression, anxiety, anxiousness, and the understanding of what this emotional emptiness is. It's kind of like a feeling which is many people would akin it to kind of feeling numb or strange and uncomfortable sensation, guys. And it's more so it can become a serious condition because it can lead to mental illness or different abuses of different substances or things in nature to kind of compensate this empty feeling. I know a lot of times people don't really recognize that they're in it. They just know something kind of feels wrong, and it's not right for extended periods of time. When you're feeling kind of normally emotional, you feel free to kind of work in your thoughts from time to time. But sometimes this could be something that's related to, you can lead to having like a poor mental health condition if you don't deal with this emptiness, right? So a lot of times people wondering like, why do you struggle with this? And it's actually, the emptiness is actually emotion. It's a strong emotion. So we're going to kind of chop into that, the emotion of it, why you feel it, the different situations. There's some reasons why you might feel empty. It could be stress. It could be unfulfillingness in the job. As I mentioned before, anxiety, depression, addictions, especially substance addictions. It could be even social media. You guys know we always tap on that, how that psychosis and feeling so consumed to want to be on and want to be seen and want to get the likes could lead to that emptiness. But the emptiness is once again an emotion, and it's inside. It's not really what's on the outside. I want to delve into that. It's really something that you're feeling internally, and it's not easy to get rid of. Many of you know, if you can be honest, you've been in this state of emptiness for a long time, and I think it's something, especially what's going on now with C-19 and everything, that's not really being discussed. It's being covered up with the showboatness of everything else. So I can tell, and I know, talking to many people about this, people that have come to me to have this conversation about this, and going through this, that this is something that can be pretty much another epidemic. It's very strong now. And you actually have the power to manage and shape this. So we're going to chop into that really, really deeply, how you have the power to shape this and control this emptiness that you're feeling, right? So I am going to bring up somebody that can help chop into this discussion really deeply. We've seen her before. She's come on and she's gave her professional opinion about different topics and situations that we've discussed here, as far as the finesse family and millennial finesse mindset. So we're going to bring her up right now. Add her to the stream. We have Dr. P. Dr. P, how are you doing today? Yeah, turn your mic on, Dr. P. Mike.
Yeah, I got you.
There we go.
You know, this Lord. How are you this morning?
I am doing well, Dr. P. How are you
We're,
doing? We know you
I'm
did a
sorry.
shift. So
We're in the
we've been,
afternoon.
yeah, we've been shifting around. You've been making big moves, switching around with your profession, doing different things. So we know you're touching base now and you're getting things together. So Dr. P, this whole conversation, we're talking about how to end emotional emptiness. I know me and you've had this conversation, and I've actually talked to a couple people about this before we actually kind of talked about it today, and I felt like I wanted to find a way to kind of niche this down, as we could discuss this as a overlaying thing, because we find this emptiness, Dr. P, it's really a strong emotion, but a lot of people think it's something they're missing on the outside, and it's really internal. So can you kind of talk on that aspect, and then we'll talk what it looks like, and then how we can heal or go through life overcoming this emptiness.
Yeah, it's tricky and it's tricky for everybody.
Mm.
The emptiness of emotions. First of all, um, we have to know what's inside of us. You have to love. You know how they say you can't love no one until you love yourself.
True.
And so you have to love yourself. You have to find that part of you that says I love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Although, get this one, you love yourself so much that when you find somebody, you give them that equal plus love of what you already have for yourself. Doesn't mean that you're not going to feel a little empty right there because you're losing your partner, if that's where it leads to, or that you think that at some point you're going to lose the emptiness that you feel there, because a lot of people say I do love myself, but it's just different. Sometimes that
Mm-hmm.
emptiness right there is that emptiness of, did I do enough to keep it? Did I work on it hard enough to keep what I so wanted, and what I so desired, and what God so said I can have?
Mm-hmm.
Because the difference, the emotions are different. When you have and you love yourself, and then you lose the other part of you, you start to deal with what could you have done? Did you hang in there long enough? And you tend to find out with married people, are they doing everything they're supposed to do? In order to keep, especially, this is the thing, especially if y'all don't cheat, and it's one little blow up that
Mm-hmm.
that sends you to the other side. um but that doesn't mean that it's you. And you got, and again, you're going to start to deal with those feelings. Is it me? And so then you're going to start to feel another emptiness. And so you're going to want to feel that, and you don't want to feel it the wrong way. And then you're going to start to internalize on that, and it probably diminishes what you already know about yourself and what you already love about yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you still don't have it. You're just allowing it to diminish what you already have. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, emotional emptiness comes in all different forms. You just have to know which one it is, and you just have to know how to better handle it. And some people, if it's just a loss, they do all they can do, and when it can't be fixed, then they're okay with that. Why? Because they love themselves, they gave up that love, and they were able to move on from being that damaged. Some people take that and they hide it, they hide it in for years and years, and it's not brought up until it's triggered, because they've never had no one to share it with, or they've never had no one to give it to. um, I'm not going to mention any names, but I came across this, and I'm so glad I came across this situation, um, with doing some couples counseling not too long ago, where this married couple came in, not married that long, but he wants to be done with it, because not that the wife did something wrong. The situation that it was in caused it to trigger something that happened to him years ago. So
Right.
in his mind is that someone's trying to steal his wife because someone stole his wife before. In the same situation, the wife says, "Do you even know the conversation that happened?" "I don't need to know the conversation," meaning that his emotional emptiness right now is it's a defensive wall up against, because he feels that she's already gone, but he doesn't trust her. And so he's feeling an emptiness now, and he's starting to wither in it, all because he wasn't healed. And the healing part takes it, and I like to tell people, you can't heal from something that's not triggered. No one can show you something different if it's not triggered. So we get triggered about different things and different things that happen to us. And as this person sat here and said this, he had never been healed, you know? And so the wife took it upon herself to figure out how can we heal this. And they're working through it, and they're still working through it, but she's not gonna give up at any point, because guess what? They're not cheating, they're not doing anything. It's just this one misunderstanding and this one mistriggered that he is clearly saying he doesn't want to go down the same road. He doesn't know if he's going to go down the same road, because she's a different person than the other person. But the way the situation happened, it literally mirrored what had happened. And so he needed to be healed from that. And sometimes God allows you to go through not the same thing, but for a situation to happen almost the same way, but not happen the same way. But he's so busy in how it happened or what he sees that he never caught what the conversation was, on down to the point that your wife can't be taken away from you. And so he needs to be healed from that. So in order to heal from that
Yeah,
emotional
that
emptiness,
that's
you have
super
to bring
key.
up. I mean, everybody don't understand. You're not healed if you're not being triggered by it. Because how can you heal from something that you don't know you're still hurting from if it's not being triggered? So we also have to remind ourselves that that emptiness sometimes it's because we're holding in, and we're not releasing, and we're not healing the proper way. Because when you're going to heal the proper way, it's going to be triggered. It has to be triggered now, but the outcome has to be different. And then that person's going to know that that outcome is different, which means you've healed them from whatever scar they thought is going to happen to what scar is not going to happen. And that's why we say, oh, he or she did something in my past. I've seen it before. I don't want to go through it again. Well, you're not going to go through it again. You just have to trust that faith that that's a different person, even though it looks like the situations mirror each other. And so, like
Okay.
I said, emotional emptiness and it's hard. And
So let me kind
yeah,
of
that's what.
reiterate what you said, because you package it a lot. Um So if you're just coming in, once again, guys, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. We are getting into this emotional emptiness, and the way I phrased it and worded it is because we need to understand, as Dr. P, if you don't know, Dr. P is here. She's discussing this topic with me, and we're getting into the undergird and underbodies of this, talking different situations and conversations that we've had with different people, and how to actually glide through and handle this, because there's going to be times, many times in people's life, where you will get this feeling, and you have to understand and know, ergo what Dr. P was saying, the trigger, when you're triggered, and once you're triggered, which you will be, how to actually go along and deal with that, because once again, the trigger is there because it was something already embedded that you were either not realizing or you were covering up. So what happens when you're feeling empty all the time, right? That connection. So some of you can see, because a lot of times you have to see this like face forward. You have to understand these situations, hear these situations, or it doesn't make sense for a lot of people, right? What happens when you actually feel this all the time? And Dr. P, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna list like situations, and I want us to kind of come in, and I want you to kind of, we're gonna delve into what creates that emptiness in that situation and how we can overcome it. Just different ways that can help people, and different avenues they can take. So when they hear and feel, oh, that's the thing I'm going through, this is ways to get over it. All right. So what I want to kind of discuss right now is when you feel empty all the time, you have to be focused that you're losing touch with yourself. It's really important. Dr. P just touched on that. You literally are losing touch with yourself when you feel that emptiness. Um it's not unusual for you to lose touch, but when it's a lack of insight for yourself, and you're lingering with the feeling. So pay attention to that. Unresolved past instances. Basically, Dr. P was giving us a situation where she talked with a couple, and that man in that marriage, it was unresolved. And a lot of times it's grieving. It's this longing, grieving process. And you have to talk openly and explore your emotions. This is why we're talking about this. I know many times, especially if people can feel like they can counsel with somebody, consult, talk to somebody, feel open, you need to take that step to do those things, because a lot of times you can get breakthroughs in that because you don't know things that they're not resolved, right? Another thing with this emptiness, you got to be careful when you're not taking care of yourself, because a lot of times that emptiness, you not wanting to deal with it, you kind of staying away or letting that feeling take over, makes you not want to take care of yourself. And in not taking your care of yourself is the not talking part also, guys. Making sure that it doesn't lead to anxiety, guilt, and shame. You have to be careful of those things, right? And then, if you don't take care of yourself, how can you guys get into significant relationships? That's really kind of the key of this whole conversation. The leaving one significant relationship to go to another, and then that stigma of what's left because you're not fixing those triggers. It's really kind of what we want to touch in on this conversation. Let's see what's going on in the chat. We got OG Patrice. She's saying greeting and salutations. Hey OG, hopefully you're having a great day. We got Peter Investor, the investor in the building. He says, Mrs. B Finesse, salute to you. Just dropping in to show support. Thank you. We got Moments with Mickey Red. She's saying good afternoon. Hey Mickey, how are you? Lash's Journey is saying hello to everybody. Hello, hello. All right, Dr. P. So this is what I want to do. I want to go into giving a situation that has to deal with emptiness, and we'll talk about what it is, and then what a step is to get over it, or to help move forward. So if we are dealing with emptiness, Dr. P, and we're dealing with a stressful situation or hard situations, what's one way we can notice that, Dr. P? And then what is a step that we can do to move forward from that?
Well, whenever you changes,
Dr. P, you going in and out. Dr. P,
oh,
can you hear
can
me?
you hear me?
Your screen is
I can
freezing.
hear
Can you
you. Can
see
you
it?
hear me?
I can hear you, but your
No, I
screen is
can't see
freezing.
the. Okay, I can't see the
Okay,
screen.
Dr. P,
Can
go
you
out and
hear
come
me?
back. No, go out and come back in. Go out and come back in because I can't. You're froze. Yeah, you're froze, Dr. P. So come back in, go out and come back in, and I'll bring you back up because your screen is actually losing connection. Right. So let's go in while we wait for Dr. P to come back. Let's go into stressful and hard situations. So the emptiness of having a stressful situation is always imperative, right? Because the stress is making you want to detach or stay away from something. Ways that you can help yourself get over that or another person is to do things in small pieces. Because the stress is actually probably coming from something that's like a burden or something that's very heavy because it's a lot on you. So if you take these hard situations or stressful situations and break them down into little pieces, do them one thing at a time, do them one moment at a time, that will actually help you dealing with the stress situations, right? Unfulfilling job or other unrealized goals. How we can notice that? How you're reacting at work. If you're getting up every morning and you're feeling horrible, like you don't want to be there, that is a common emptiness that many in society feel. How can we get over that? Ways to get over that, guys. Number one is look for the thing that you would do without getting paid. That is going to fulfill you and take away that internal emptiness. And then work towards it while you're working that job. Have an end goal. I'm going to give myself 3 months, 6 months, however long to learn the skill or be prepared for this new job so I can transition. And that's a way to help take away that emptiness from you. Um, hey, Princessa, how are you? Hey, Snooky Poo. Hopefully, you and the family are having a great day. Let's see if we can get Dr. P up. Let's see. Dr. P, I see your name, but I don't see your face. Let me see if it makes a difference if I add you to the stream. Um, let's see. Yeah, there you go. Dr. P, can you hear me? I see you.
Can you hear me?
It still sounds like robotic, but are you moving? Are you looking up? Because I think your screen still looks froze. Yeah, I can't hear you, Dr. P. And your screen is froze. Try it one more time for me. Try it one more time. Let's get into the anxiety and depression part. While we wait for Dr. P to get back online. So the depression and anxiety part. How can I notice depression and anxiety? A lot of times, and we've done different streams dealing with anxiety and depression. So make sure you guys, if you haven't, go back and check through those different streams that we have done on these different ideals. So the depression and anxiety part, as we talked about, as far as this emptiness, it's really not something external. It's really kind of something emotionally inside of you. So even though on the outside you can be going through something or you cannot have, on the inside you can still feel full. You can still feel whole. So please don't get it construed that this emptiness you're feeling is because it's something like external. It's something you have to deal with inside, as was mentioned before with Dr. P. Let me see if we can get her back up. Dr. P, can you hear me? Nope, her internet is going out. Processor says hello, Dr. P. Yeah, Dr. P, we trying to get her back in. She's having some login issues, internet issues. She says, Princessa says, for those who need it, Wi-Fi boosters or personal Wi-Fi boxes can help with the connection issues. Yeah, I definitely have like boosters on mine. So, but I'm LAN, but in the other computers that I have in here, yeah, I have that on here. I'll see her when she comes back up, but let's continue the conversation. Once again, if you're just getting in, we're talking about how to end emotional emptiness. Dr. P has started off in the conversation and she was saying how people a lot of times will hold on to the regrets, hold on to the negativity from past relationships that they have and bring them into new relationships. She also was transitioning to that emptiness and that feelingness of loneliness is because one is missing something internally, and how when you're putting your faith in things, especially if you believe in God and you trust in him, how that emptiness can be fulfilled, and and all around it can really help you grow as a person, even if you don't have outside people. And I know many of you in the stream and chat can speak on this. That feeling when you don't have outside family, you might have a husband or wife that's estranged or left you. You might have people that were really close to you, friends that you've known for 10, 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden they just backstab you. And then that feeling of emptiness on the outside. But if you get yourself fulfilled on the inside, if you feel yourself on the inside, if you take all the distractors and things away on the mental aspect of it, even if you don't have on the outside, if it's empty for namesake or people's sake or word's sake, it looks empty, you can still feel full on the inside. And that's kind of what this discussion is: how to end emotional emptiness, knowing what it is, recognizing it, and then finding ways where you can hone in on it. Dr. P eloquently said earlier how a lot of times you're triggered. A lot of times the emptiness or the anxiety or depression, it only comes because something was triggered. And if there is a trigger, it means that inside there was something that needed to be dealt with. And that's a key point. A lot of times we don't want to admit there are internal layers of things we don't want to deal with. We suppress them because it's just easy to suppress it. We've pushed them down inside and pushed it way below in the subconscious because we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to pull up that hurt. And a lot of times you have to do that to make sure you find what the triggers are and to go through the steps you need to go through to get those things out of you so you can move forward, guys. So you can move forward and do the things that you need to do to progress. Yeah, and it's super super important that you work through the steps that way. Let me make sure, see if Dr. P's getting that connection together. Okay, guys, so let's kind of go through. Let me reiterate this. Let's see. Princessa is saying, I agree. To add, when you remove things that aren't good for you, you have to replace it with something that is good for you. Not filling the hole will cause you to stagnate and begin to decay. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That is so true. And that's why the whole fact of this emptiness, and it's so funny. I need to just write down this whole case study that I'm really doing with this with the internet and social media. I had read another report. I was reading through some articles and journals that this mom, it was in the news going viral that she gave her son when he was 12. She told him if he stayed off of the internet and social media, by the time he turned 18, instead of giving him just a certain amount of money on his birthday, she'd give him $1,800. And you guys know with a child, they're not really relating. Most people say, oh, 1,800 isn't a lot, but it is. And so the boy, he stayed off of social media, even though he was a football player. He did a lot of things. He was on an honor roll. And when he turned 18, she gave him $1,800. And I thought to myself, that's such a honorary, neat concept, but would people even do that nowadays? As much connected that they feel to the social media aspect, that if they take themselves away from it, is that feeling some void that they have, that ergo, that emptiness, that whole aspect of being having something and being a part of it. And I don't think people really connect it from, or connect or disconnect, that it has to really do with internal. It's not external. Because if you've talked to many people that people quote unquote call loners, or they like to be themselves, they're just happy as, what would y'all say, a June bug in July. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're super happy. You might look at them and they may look like they don't have anybody, they're alone, they're by themselves or whatever. But inside they're fulfilled because they don't have that emotional trigger saying that they have to perform or do for somebody or be something. And I think a lot of times when you get down to the base of this, and I know this just having these consults and conversations with people and coaching and talking to them, that when you get down to the base of it, a lot of times, guys, there's things internal, as Dr. P was saying, like triggers that really, really people do not want to unmask. And with that being said, they cover it up with being maybe extra vocal, or wanting to overexport themselves on social media, or wanting to do whatever to get everybody to like them or to look at them and to be around them. And little do they know that whole feeling of wanting to overconsume those ideas with people has to do with something internal with you, right? So let's kind of get into this. Again, is feeling empty the same as being depressed? That's a good breakdown too. Is feeling empty the same as being depressed? We want to make that distinction too, right? So depression, it says, is a mental health condition, and it involves symptoms like lacking energy, persistently feeling sad, sleeping too much or too little, both sides of that spectrum. And you know the average amount of sleep you get. Now, if you're somebody that's grinding all the time, because let's say you're starting a business or you're helping create or cultivate something new, then you not getting enough sleep, it's because you're doing something. But when it's just nothing, there's nothing getting accomplished, and you're sleeping too much or too little, yes, depression. I mean, that's a sign. Not being able to focus, feeling guilty or worthless, not being able to enjoy activities, right? And it says feeling of emptiness or numbness could be another sign of depression. This is a strong feeling, right? And this is coming from a psychotherapist, Mrs. Edler, out of Boulder, Colorado. So this is strong, intense feelings, right? And then they also were saying that clients who, she was saying her clients that live with depression report feeling empty instead of sad, she said, right? So that strong, empty feeling, right? Instead of sad. So Lashes is saying, true, hopefully you're doing great, Lashes, you and the baby and the family. Princessa says, yes, social media has become a connection for some people. They are spiritually connected to social media. Oh, that's deep. That's true. And Dr. P, we were discussing this before, and she was gonna really get into that ideal of feeling whole with your spirituality and connecting with God, and the whole ideal of that you need to make sure that there is something bigger than you and higher than you. And I think a lot of times we want things in this world to fulfill us. We want cars, we want money, we want accolades from our neighbors and our friends. We want status, we want these big ticket items. We want to wear other people's names and brands that make us feel good. I still don't understand that. Now, don't get me wrong. I like nice things and I have nice things. But I'm not so consumed to the fact that I want to wear another brand or another label, and I will go into ergo that person's store and they will mistreat me and I still want to throw my money at them. I'm not that jaded. I know sometimes, like I said, there are better things and luxury things. Yes, and I think it's okay for people to have things of that nature. I'm not saying that you should just be walking around like a slum or bum or something. No. But don't be so consumed in another person's identity or another person's name or label that you feel like that makes you. And I know, be working around young adults and teenagers and just seeing how adults act, especially in this whole ideal of social media, that it is something that's compelling. And I may do another study over it, because it really kind of just behooves me, this whole ideal of people not feeling fulfilled, ergo they're feeling empty, and it's really something that they can control. It's something they can totally control, but they don't have the means, or they don't have the understanding to where do I start, right? Or they feel ashamed, they don't want to admit that they feel empty, so they cover that up with over consuming, being overly happy, being overly extreme on any aspect of that. When, like we talked about, honesty was the best policy. I believe that was, one of the streams we did last week. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Honesty is the best policy. A lot of times, guys, when you're just honest, and not so honest that you just want to distract or destroy other people, but really honest with yourself, when you do that on a consistent basis, your life becomes more meaningful and it becomes more purposeful, because you're not trying to do or be anything else. And we also, guys, we talked about other aspects of honesty, like when you have to protect somebody. Now that's different. And I believe not telling the whole concept of something, or you could say the whole truth, especially in situations where people get hurt. Obviously, that's understandable. You don't want people that are going to abuse, or people that are going to victimize or hurt people, to know whole truths about anything, right? But that whole concept of am I really feeling empty? okay, now I see the different symptoms, the different signs of this. Now, what can I do, and how can I help somebody else if I'm not going through it? I think it's a topic that's super prevalent, and we can see that it is matriculating in society because there's so many people that are deleting themselves. There's so many people that are getting stressed and depressed and having anxiety. They've done so many study guys that have proven and led that social media, and people are actually allegedly suing these different big companies because of what's happening to their loved ones, because they're being addicted, because they're having addictive behaviors, which can lead to this emptiness. Because once again, guys, it's not external, it's internal. I definitely want to push that understanding for those coming in the stream, watching this restream, trying to get understanding on this ways to end this emotional emptiness. It is an emotion that's internal, and you have to understand that. Let's see. Lashes is saying true. Princessa says we have to continually take an honest and thorough inventory of ourselves to make sure that we aren't succumbing to social media, especially if you are a child of God. Yes, and see, the way that whole aspect turned, Princessa, is how, because I do believe there's extreme evils, there's good and bad on every concept of everything. Like, we can eat food, but you can make that like evil and make it compulsive when you are gluttonous, when you overeat, or you binge eat, or you emotionally eat in a sense that you have a eating disorder. So you can see both levels of an extreme of something. Eating is something we need as humans, but you can see the extreme of not eating enough with a eating disorder, or overeating where you become obese and morbidly obese, right? And this whole aspect of watching it, guys, I don't know if I think maybe a couple years ago, I didn't even realize it. Now, I have, obviously, yeah, we all have overweight people in our family. You can say obese. I don't believe I've seen anybody bigger than in real person life that I know of, maybe 300 pounds, right? But when I start seeing these different things that will pop up like on the feed and YouTube, things that just pop up, and these shows of these morbidly obese people, 600 pounds, 700 pounds, 800 pounds. To me, it's just amazing because I never seen anybody, even on TV, that was that big. So that these extremes of these different aspects that we live life, and how we lead life, you would think before that person got to that level, could did anybody like work to stop them when they got to that? The whole aspect of who was involved, the steps it took to get to that extremeness of being to that level. And really and truly, guys, when you listen to these stories, I think it was one person that was in bed. It was a lady, and it was amazing. They were sending her help. The doctors, they're paying for the doctors to come see her. They're giving these therapists coming, and the lady was she was so mean. I think she was about 700 pounds, 600. She was so mean to everybody that was coming in there. And then finally she just kind of broke down. I believe she had like a live-in boyfriend or somebody that was there with her, but he was obviously enabling her because she couldn't get out the bed, so he had to go get her food and buy her food. And he was saying like, I want her to be happy, so I'm just buying her what she's telling me. But in my mind, the logic of that is the person cannot get up, so you're totally responsible. So there's something, a psychosis going on with you also, for you to see and watch that person slowly pass away because of something you can control, which is the eating. And the lady, she was just so mean, guys. And I'm, me, I look past it. I'm not just like most people will watch her and call the lady out of her name and say, obviously the way she looks because she's obese, and call her names. I look past layers when I look at people like that. I go into the psychosis of it, why, the back end of why you acting that way, what went on in your past. Like, I don't just face value look at anybody or anything. I'm way beyond that, my thinking, right? So I know in my head something happened when she was younger, and something happened recently to trigger this. So the woman's talking, right? She's talking and talking, and all of a sudden she just breaks down and starts crying. And she's like, I'm just really scared. She says, I feel like I've put myself to such a point that I cannot change. And that was a trigger there. It wasn't that she didn't want help. It wasn't that she couldn't do it. It was her mindset. Once again, this is the concept of every show I do. That whole mindset, how to trigger the mindset to change, how to get these ideas out of your mindset to keep you stagnant, how to move forward and, and change a bad mindset. And it was really the average person looking at her would be like, oh, she's a big fat whatever, and she's so lazy and da 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 da, which could be true that led to that. But yet and still, you have to look beyond what you see surface with people, guys. There's so many layers. And once again, once you peel all these layers down, you get to this internalness. Why am I empty? What are the things that are causing this emptiness, right? And then the things before, the foreshadow. What are the things that can show, or can look at face value to know that I'm feeling this, which is the how I'm reacting, and how I'm responding in different situations, right? So once again, like I said, I don't just look at the surface value of people. I try to learn, listen, break down, or even investigate deeper things. And it's always something, as Dr. P mentioned earlier, it's always something that has to break, something that you have inside of you, to heal that emptiness, to move forward. Even in relationships, we can break that down. A lot of you people been in relationships, been in marriages, and what happens is a lot of times one bad relationship, you'll take that thing not knowing, move so quickly to a new relationship, and you don't understand the same exact thing that happened in that first relationship. For some reason, it just comes up and you don't understand. So you break up with that person or end it, go to another relationship. You ask yourself, why in these relationships do I keep getting the same thing or same person? And you're not knowing. You did not heal and fix what it was. And a lot of times, guys, in relationships, we're looking at the other person. They did this to me. They hurt me. And that gets you nowhere, to be honest. When you focus on what somebody else did, you will get nowhere, because it's like you'll always find a scapegoat. And they could be totally wrong. I'm not saying they're not wrong. But you really have to look internally in you. Even if they did something and hurt you, why did I allow that? Why, at what point did I notice that I couldn't fix that, but I still stayed? And it's not anything about that something's wrong with you. It's that you want to stop whatever that thing is you keep allowing. So when you get into that new relationship, you can breathe easy and start a whole new repertoire, a whole new dealing, instead of getting the same things. And a lot of times, many conversations and consultations that I've had with people, and coaching and talking to them, once they get to talking and I'm listening, they sometimes can tell. And I say right there, oh, what'd you just say? Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that I'm doing this. Even though that person is wrong and they were negative and bad and mean, it's me. I'm accepting this. I'm allowing this to happen. Right there is the breakthrough and the trigger. Then you can change it and come from this emptiness to a wholeness and healing. And that's really what's key. And it really is going to come from conversations. You cannot do this in your mind. Even if you believe, and you believe in a higher power, especially in God, and you know that it's already written that you have to acknowledge the wrong. You have to go into introspect and find what it is to change it. Ergo, that is repentance. That is the changing of the thing all the way around to something new. And a lot of times that's what we don't do. We know something that we need to change, but we just do just enough to make it feel good for the next situation. Or we heal just enough, or we change something just enough. And we wonder, why are we still not happy? Because of emptiness. It's still there. It's that emotion that we have not dealt with. And it's still there, right? So yeah, I've gone on a tangent on that. Let me see what you guys are saying. Hold on. Let's see. Princessa says codependency is dangerous. Yes. It sure is. Let's see. Princessa says, why do you need someone else to be loved? Yeah, that's true, Princess. And you know what? It's so cliche we say that, but why are so many people in situations where they could actually be better off by themselves? And I'm going to tell you why. The reason why is because it's that evil that you know is easier to deal with. That situation that you've conformed to, that situation that you feel is your normalcy and normal, it's so much easier than letting it go and walking into something in faith, walking into life scared, walking into life without having somebody, and trusting and knowing you're going to find that right person. That's harder than being with somebody that mistreats you, treats you bad, or just not, they're not for you. but you feel comfortable in that because at least you're not walking around without a body with you. At least you're not walking around not and not a single and not a relationship. And I know because people have told me this. This is why a lot of people stay in bad relationships. They don't want to seem alone. They don't want to seem like they're by themselves. They don't want to feel empty. When really that emptiness has nothing to do with external. Remember, I told you that. This emptiness I'm talking about, this emotion is not external. It has nothing to do with your outside. It's you on the inside. It's you dealing with a deep emotion from something that you've gone through or went through, right? Let's see what you guys are saying. Moments with Mickey. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in. Yes, when you change your mindset, you change your life. There we go. The name of the channel, the name of this whole brand, Millennial Finesse Mindset. It's always a mindset shift, guys. In everything, it's always a mindset, and that's always the precipice of the conversations that we have here. Even if we're talking about funny stuff, viral stuff, trending stuff, or these topics like this, it's always something dealing with this shift and how somebody's thinking and or misthinking, which means their ideals or the principles they're standing on, those concepts are false or wrong or misguided, right? And we really, really, really have to understand that. Even those people that you feel on our different platforms yelling and misconstruing, saying the worst, violent stuff, many times, guys, it has nothing to do with those words that they're saying. It's the misconceptions of the environment that they've been brought up in and or the relationships they had. Everything has to do with relationships in life. That's why it's so important, the conversations that we have in relationships, to get the understanding in anything. It's so important because if you don't have that ground to stand on, that mindset, and ways to shift into the mindset change, because you can't just say I want to change and it's going to happen. It don't work that way. If it was that easy, oh my goodness, it would be so much less drama in the world than it is. But it really has to be intentional. You guys, we talked about that. You have to be intentional to change this shift, to change your mindset. And it's got to be like a lifestyle. It's got to be steady because trust me, you're going to get into this mind shift change and you're going to mess up or have mishaps or slip ups. And that's okay. But the point is to keep moving forward. And a lot of people get so stuck when they, let's say they get out of a bad relationship or a codependency or even a job or things of that nature. And then you don't, let's say with a job, you don't get a job soon. You don't get it as quick as you expect it. You want to give up and maybe go back to what you're doing. In a relationship, you don't get in a relationship quickly. You're by yourself. So you're starting to feel internally like you're rejected. You're starting to feel like you're not enough. No, it has nothing to do with that. A lot of times, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's a time and season for everything. It's so important. I think if we can rest assured on many times, especially in relationships, guys, if you don't get what you want, a lot of times your environment and things around you are shifting and working for you to get it when you're supposed to get it. Because the worst thing in the world, guys, is for you to get something too soon or when you're not ready to get it or receive it. That is the worst. Especially this, we talked about delayed gratification and we talked about getting things instantly and quick. It's not always good because that journey that you go on to get there is the principle and piece that's going to make you accelerate. And a lot of times, guys, things just need to move in life. You can't put a seed in the ground and a tree pops up tomorrow. That's one thing that helped me, guys, because I'm only speaking and teaching and telling you things that I've actually matriculated through myself, as far as me growing and progressing and becoming a more put together, well thought through individual and being able to matriculate life excellently is because a lot of time I'm so like super ambitious about a lot of things that I have to have these little kind of principles and little kind of ideals in the back of my head to help me understand like you're good, you're right where you need to be. And that whole idea when I look, because I'm very visual, putting a seed in the ground, when you put a seed, it takes seasons, time changing, it takes the water, it takes the sunlight, it takes days and nights of that, seasons of it to make something with fruit, to make something, produce something. And so when you understand that, it makes whatever journey you're going through, whatever thing you're working on, whatever thing you are hoping for and wanting to create, You understand it's okay. So what, that other person got it in a week, a month, 6 months, and that's them. That's their journey. You want to get it the way you're supposed to get it, so it's going to produce the fruit you need to excel. And I and it's tough because we're humans, and when we see somebody else have something that we want and we see they got it quickly, you don't know what that person did to get it. I'm gonna continue to say that all the time. You don't know any of the backdoor things that person did, the underscathing things, or maybe payouts that person did. You don't know what they did to get it. So don't be so consumed in how quick they got it. You just work on yourself and move the way you need to move. And that's easier said than done, but I'm telling you guys, once you start walking in that, man, listen, you gonna be so happy when people get stuff. You're not gonna care if somebody got something you wanted overnight. You're gonna be happy. I'm so glad you got it. Blessings to you, because I'm gonna be next. And you keep moving forward in it because you're gonna get it the way you're supposed to get it. And it's okay. You don't want it the way they got it because you don't know what they did to get it, to be honest with you guys. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that, guys. Let's see what you guys are saying. Moments where Mickey says, yes, you can change your mindset. Yep, change your life. Princessa says, sometimes it is rebellion or pain. Yeah, that's true. Many times it can be rebellion because it's like you just don't want to deal with what that truth is. And that's okay. That's human nature. But guess what? You don't want to stay in that. You definitely don't. Princessa says, great topic. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Moments with Mickey says, yeah, comfort. Yeah, that's true, Mickey. That's definitely true. Let's see. Um, let's see. But yeah, guys, let's see. We're going to go into the next thing where they were talking about the feelings. Let's see. Let's go back into this. I feel empty. And we're going to kind of break down what that actually looks like too once we get into this, and how you guys can help somebody or yourself, guys, in this. How to stop feeling this way, right? So let's really get into that, because I know those are things that are going to help you guys. How to stop feeling empty. Once again, if you just get into the screen, make sure you guys hit that like button on the way. Make sure you share this, because once again, I believe everybody is going through these bouts of it. A lot of people can cover that emptiness up way better than others, but this is something that is stagnant in society. There's so many reports and studies on this, and we're coming to find out, guys, especially on a couple of streams that I did. I had talked about the ideas of the social media overload with influencers. Many influencers are just backing down after 1 year, 3 years, even 10 years doing social media, making money. They just don't feel it anymore, and or it is consuming their life. And it's something that they don't think is healthy anymore. So if you want to know about that one, that was a stream. It was called Social Media Overload, Influencers Speak. Check that out. I broke that all down with a couple reports that people were saying about that. So how to stop feeling empty, right? So it says, once again, we already know it's natural to feel discomfort, and when you don't notice the change instantly, that's okay. It's just, human nature for us to get emotions, and emotions change. So this is why you cannot make judgment calls just because you're feeling happy, sad, angry. Wait to settle to make a big decision before you just run off your emotion, because a lot of times you notice if you give yourself time to rest or think about what you said or did, your mindset's going to shift, right? So recognizing your feeling and addressing it is the first step towards feeling better. Yeah, just got to be honest, guys. Say you feel. So recognize it. Be honest that you have it. A lot of times people aren't admitting it, so they don't even realize that they're having these feelings, right? If you are starting to feel this, it is really important that you do seek medical health, a medical health professional, because if it's the thing where it's consuming and you don't want to get up and you don't want to come outside and you're not getting work done, you're not paying bills, that is another step where it is extreme. You need to seek some help for that, right? You can find different people to work with you to uncover the cause of the numbness and address it in a way that works best for you. Because the point is, you have to realize, as we talked about earlier in the stream with Dr. P, that it's a trigger. There's something triggering it. Figure out what that is and then address it so you can find out different mechanisms that'll work best for you, right? You want to figure out what's causing it, and you want to stop it. Figure out ways that you can stop that emptiness, right? It's so key, guys, that you have to acknowledge that you're empty. It's so important that you acknowledge it, because if not, it's going to be a bigger hole that's created, right? You recognize the feelings and the needs, and then even if you feel like it's troublesome, you don't want to dismiss it, because a lot of times, like I said, this is why these things brew and grow to something that just cannot be controlled, and then you just like you have an overload, and you just your mind is blown at that point because you did not deal with it when you knew you felt it at the beginning, right? Since feeling guilty is not uncommon, so the guilt that you're feeling for your emptiness is not uncommon, but it might stop you from seeking help. So it's important that you are paying attention to this, right? Um, and also too, you might be feeling empty because, especially if you lost something like a person or a loved one, you might be going through those stages of grief, right? Where you're going through anxiety, stress, pain, and then that whole last thing where you just dealing with it and getting over it, right? Also, another way to help you if you're dealing with this emotional emptiness, um, make time for yourself every day, or just give yourself that downtime. I told you guys that whole aspect of breathing. I don't know if any of you ever tried it, but just stop for like what, probably 2 minutes to 5 minutes, and work on breathing exercises where you're just sitting still, you're not talking, you're not doing anything with anybody, and you're just focusing on breathing in and breathing out, on a methodic level where it's like you're doing it slowly, and you're doing it in a sense that you are slowing your whole breath down. And you'll notice like you are super breathing fast. Like your breathing is like very, very out of whack, right? Also make sure that you are noticing your feelings, and taking a deep dive in why you feel what you feel. That's really going to help you deal with that emotional emptiness, right? Um Also, things you can do, it says, talk to yourself about the positive things that you see instead of focusing on the negative. Look at introspectively, see why you are trying to prove yourself to somebody, or why you feel like you have to win. Why those can be things triggering that emptiness inside, because you feel like you're not enough, or you're not getting enough like everybody else is. um are you blaming yourself for the ways that you're feeling, and because you think it's out of control? Got to deal with that when you're kind of processing all this. um are you paying attention to your physical health and needs? Because a lot of times when you feel that emotional emptiness, you lose track of things that you need to do for your health and your body, right? Because we're trying to help you end it. So these are the different things you need to explore, as far as your emptiness and how to change it. um are you are your feelings being considered in a relationship, or are you minimizing them? This is when we're making the connection in relationships. You need to make sure you are saying what you feel in a way that is expressive to whoever your partner is, or whatever, co-workers, workers in relationships, dealing with, even dealing with physicians and doctors. You need to be very upfront with people and let them know how you're feeling, and don't minimize it, because that can lead to you feeling this emptiness and you're not being honest. Moments with Mickey says, sometimes we feel like the witch we know is better than the wizard you don't. Oh, I like the way you worded that. However, usually our dreams are one step out of our comfort zone. We just have to have guts and plan. Yes, that's so true. And your dreams are, like you said, Mickey, they're right ahead of you. The biggest thing that holds us back from most things in life is fear. And that fear is going to lead to anxiety, depression. It's going to lead to over compulsive behaviors. And if we just go out and try things, especially in faith, trust, especially if you have faith in God and you're trusting, you got to understand your faith does not mean it's an overnight success. Faith is believing in something you're not seeing, because you know it's going to come. So that whole aspect, it's really just the journey. Because the more, what happens, guys, if there's something you're working on and you don't believe you're going to have it, all you're doing is talking yourself out of it. It's not to say you wouldn't have got it, but your faith was so low, you didn't believe you were going to get it. So you talked yourself out of it, and it could have been something that would have happened like that next day or a week or month, but you talk yourself out of it, so you don't get it. She says, in with the good and out with the, that's true. That's true, Mickey. And she says, an emotional will is great. Yeah. It's like this whole roller coaster you're going through, right? But it can be fixed. That's a good thing. That's really what I want people to get out of this stream with the how to end emotional emptiness, is because it's really something that Mentally is a choice, and it's just a mindset shift. And once you start shifting that mindset, you will come out of this. Another thing to help you connect with other people, guys, make sure you reach out to friends and family, people you confide in. Make sure you have a regular connection with those loved ones that you know you can trust and engage with in social engagements and hobbies, just mutual things where you can be out and be present, especially in positive, happy situations, right? And also practice your self-care. I told you guys about that breathing. Make sure you're mindful of what you're going through. Spend time to spend with yourself, quiet time, meditation. Make sure you take a break from social media or things that you feel are compulsively taking your attention and you know you're not feeling good. If you keep watching something, guys, especially on social media, and you feel a certain type of way after you watch it, or you feeling something while you're watching it, that is your mind telling you to stop and get away from it, guys. It is important that you pay. Sorry, guys. It's necessary that you are clicked on the wrong thing when I was clicking on my banner. But it's necessary that you guys are aware of that so you don't get caught up in that cycle of this emotional emptiness, because you can change it, right? And it's like proclamations and declarations that you make. I'm very keen on that. I've done that a good portion of my life. People that are very close to me, around me, that's what we do. You might need to put some things up around you, some proclamations and things you need to say to yourself, or read these things every day before you get up, before you go to bed. Things that keep your mind set in a point where you don't go into this emotional emptiness, because you can create and cultivate that environment, right? And make sure when you're seeking help that you're getting what you need as you are seeking that help, guys. Make sure you're getting that. So once again, this live stream, guys, we talked about how to end emotional emptiness. We talked about really what that was. We talked about that it's really something that is internal. It's not external as many people might think. It is something you definitely can end and change. You can stop feeling this emptiness. You have to acknowledge that you have the emptiness. You got to explore your feelings around it, connect with people. Make sure you're practicing the self-care, make declarations and proclamations to change that whole mindset and psyche, and these ideas that you're going through with that. And you can make these changes, guys. This is something that's totally fixable. That's really what I want to express in this live stream, that this emotional emptiness is something that you guys can fix and change, right? So once again, guys, make sure you're hitting that button on the way out, the like button, share this information. Make sure you guys comment. Make sure you comment about the stream. Let me know if it helped you, or if you feel like this information could help somebody else. Make these changes to end emotional emptiness. Also, guys, make sure that you guys are sharing this information. And once again, Finesse family, thank you. If you don't know, you're new to the channel. Finesse stands for being faithfully innovating, inspiring, being naturally effective, and seeking success every day, guys. And I hope you guys have a great day. Adios, guys. Au revoir. Have a good day.